Hey guys, in the last video, I showed you how to deserialize the simple JSON response body into a Java class representation. In this video, we'll see how to deserialize the complex or nested JSON response body into a Java class representation. Now, the rule of thumb remains the same. In order to convert the JSON structure into a class representation, we first have to create a class that has all the nodes present in that JSON structure. So in this API under test, we get the structured JSON data for author entity, which has got these 5 attributes. Okay, ID and age are of type integer, name and gender are of type string, and books is a complex type. This books node is a collection of nested JSON data. This book entity has got 3 nodes. BID and pages are of type integer and name is of type string. Let's head over to Eclipse and create our Pojo or model classes for this kind of response. We'll always start first with the deepest nested object, which in this case is a book entity. So inside our models package, we have this empty book class. Okay, let's add the required property. Remember, we have got 3 properties: BID, name and pages. So BID is of type integer, name is of type string, pages is again of type integer. Now, besides declaring these 3 properties, we need to make noargs and required args constructors, getters and setters for all these 3 properties, and a toString method. This leads to a huge amount of boilerplate and avoidable code. Not only does this add nothing to the business logic of your testing, but writing it is an unnecessarily boring and time-consuming process. This is why you should start employing tools and libraries to make you more productive by avoiding this. That's where Lombok comes into play. This Java library provides you with several annotations aimed at avoiding writing Java code known to be repetitive or boilerplate. Project Lombok works by plugging into your build process. Then it will auto-generate the Java bytecode into your .class files required to implement the desired behavior based on the annotation you use. Thus, each annotation offered by Project Lombok allows you to skip writing methods and logic you would like to avoid, like constructors, getters, setters, toString, equals and hash code functions. This will save you a lot of time and let you focus on the business logic of your project. Plus, you will be able to keep your code base smaller, cleaner, and easier to be read and maintained. So, any prerequisites for this Lombok library? Yes. So there are 3 prerequisites. Number 1, Java version should be greater than equal to 1.8. In our case, we are working with Java version 10, so we are good. Then Maven version should be greater than equal to 3.6. At the time of recording, I'm working on Maven 3.8 version. Okay, so even that is fine. Now we require a Eclipse version which should be compatible with this Lombok plugin. You know, I have one Eclipse Oxygen 2018 and this plugin did not work on it. Okay, so let's first add the Lombok project dependency into our project pom.xml. Okay, so open a browser and search for Maven Lombok and click on this first link. So now guys, you see, to set up Lombok with any build tool, you have to specify that Lombok dependencies is required to compile your source code, but does not need to be present when running, testing, jarring, otherwise deploying your code. Okay, so generally this is called as provided dependency, and hence guys, you see the scope of it. All right, so let's copy this much, go back to Eclipse, open pom.xml and add this in here. Okay, Control Shift F and Control S. All right, so the dependency is now added. Next is to add Lombok plugin into Eclipse. Now this plugin supports you by offering shortcuts to the most common Lombok annotations. Plus it suggests to you the annotations you may require or be looking for based on where you clicked. Okay, now for installing this plugin, Again, let's open the browser, and guys, this is the link. Now guys, on this page you would find two ways to add this plugin in your Eclipse. Number one is double click the Lombok jar. When you do so, this particular dialog box would be open and it will identify all the installed version of your Eclipse. You just select one and say install. Alright. Now, how do you find this Lombok jar in your system? Again, guys, it's very simple. You just open the Maven dependency, look out for this jar file, and then you see the location as well. Okay, so just go to that location and double click on it. All right. So guys, the second way is via Eclipse plugin installer. Okay, so you follow these instructions, install new software, then you provide in this URL. Okay, and then you select Lombok and install it. Okay, if it is installed successfully, you go to help and click on about Eclipse, scroll down, at the bottom you would see this. Okay, if this plugin is added, everything is set up correctly. Now guys, we got to make one more change in our pom.xml, and the change is this. So the configuration of the compiler plugin should contain this following information. Okay, so let's go back to pom.xml, and after these dependencies, this is the code that you have to write. So save everything and let's update our project. Maven update project and click OK. And finally, all we have to do is decorate this book class with the annotation at data. Now this will come from Lombok. All right, great. Save this. Okay, so this add data annotation generates all the boilerplate involved in Pojos. Okay, likewise, I have created this authors class and annotated it with add data annotation. And since an author may have multiple books, you see this books property is of type list book. Okay, now deserialized complex JSON response is the test case file, and it is the same code that I explained in the last video. So first two test cases are for single endpoint and remaining two are on all authors endpoint. Let's head back to Postman. So this is the single endpoint. You hit enter. Okay, you get an information about an author. This is an object. Okay, and this is the endpoint to retrieve all the authors. So you see it is an array, and inside that you have multiple authors. Okay, fair enough. Right, let's look at the testing code. So I hope you have been following my series this far. Okay, so in here we are just setting up our request. We are going to fetch author with ID 2 using this path parameter. These are my endpoints. I want to get the response in the format of JSON. Okay, and in here all we are doing is we are just sending our request, and whatever response that we get back, we store that in here. Okay, now to read the body, we have this method get body, and to deserialize the response body into a Pojo class, okay, or a Java representation, we have this method as, and then we say author.class. I already explained that in my previous video. And then once I have all this data deserialized into this Java representation using the toString method, I'm just going to log it to the console. Okay, so guys, because of this Lombok, you could clearly see that you just have to provide the properties, right? So this class looks so clean now. Okay, and you can still have all the features like getters, setters, constructors, no argument constructors. All right, so let me save everything, okay, and execute this. There you go. Okay, so we are able to deserialize even the complex response. Okay, great. Let me set it to false and show you the next one. In the next one, like explained in the previous video, so we are going to make use of type ref. Okay, so again, response.getBody as new type ref, and then we provide the generic, which is author. Okay, this is again going to deserialize the complex JSON response and load that into this Java class representation. Okay, and then with the help of toString, we are just printing it to the console. There you go. All right, it works. Then next is we have to work on the list of members. Okay, so you see list of authors. All right, so in here also again you would see these two ways. So author array dot class, and then you see the new type ref version. All right, so let us execute the first one. I'm gonna execute it. Alright, so you see both the authors are printed, and the last one makes use of this reference, pretty much the same. Okay, change this to true, execute it. Alright, it works. Now guys, using this deserialization, what we have achieved it, we have loaded the complete response body into these Java classes. Okay, so if you want to read the complete response, you have to create the Pojo classes, load the data into it. So there are situations when we just need to read the partial data, okay, from the response body. That is something that we are going to see in upcoming videos. So I hope you like this. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.